Hi everyone, it's Mike Bond with Hard Money Mike. Today we're going to go over how to finance a BRRRR at 100%. That means no money out of your pocket for the purchase, rehab, closing, or even carry. For the last 14 years, we've been helping people get 100% financing on the BRRRR. It all comes down to one thing, making sure the people who are buying buy a good property at 75% or less based on your ARV. Yes, this happens even in this market. Even in 2024, we're going to see more and more opportunities out there. We just had a client who bought a property for $300,000, put $50,000 into it, and it was worth $550,000. That's in the Denver market. So there are opportunities out there. So I know there's naysayers out there. It doesn't happen in this market. It is happening in this market, maybe not as much as it did in 2010, 2011. It is happening. It's going to happen more 2024 and 2025. As I mentioned, if you want to get this right, you have to get the upfront loan right. Working with a hard money lender that'll fund up to the 75%. The 75% is based on what amount you could refinance. I say 75% because most clients can refinance into a conforming, a DSCR, at 75%. But if you're only able to finance up to 70%, we would have to match whatever you qualify for the long-term or the takeout loan. Remember in BRRRR, there's the buy, which is the first loan, and then there's the refinance. And the refinance dictates how much a lender on the buy can give you. So let's look at some numbers because numbers usually help you really put it into picture what this will look like. So on the buy side, when we're looking at this, we talked about purchase price. So price, let's use an example here where we're going to have an ARV, a property that's going to be worth $200,000. So $200,000, keep that in mind. That's what it's going to be worth when we appraise it for the long-term refinance. So number one was price we're going to look at. Number two, we're going to add in there the rehab because we have to fix up, have to put some money into the property so the appraiser knows why it's going to be worth more than we bought it for. Number three, we're going to talk about closing costs. The costs that you're going to close not only on the buy, but on the refinance. So we want to make sure your buy and refinance closing costs is all included in the 75% of the future value or the ARV of this property when you go to refinance. Last, just to make this 100%, we have to put in carry cost at least a couple months until it gets rented. So we're going to put in the carry cost too. That's your monthly payment for your buy mortgage, your taxes, insurance during that time until you can get it rented. Usually you're going to get it rented before you refinance. So we want to make sure we get everything under this 75%. In this case, remember, we talked about an ARV, and I'm just going to put this up here, of $200,000. In this example, that's what we're going to shoot for. That's what the appraised value is. So we want to keep it at 75%. So 75% of 200,000, when we put it into our calculator, we know our max loan that we could refinance out and put nothing in is 150,000. Now, how I got that is I put in my calculator the 200,000, 75% when you put it into a calculator, you times it by 0.75 in this case. So 200,000 times 0.75, you're going to come up with a max loan of $150,000 to keep it in that 100% refinance so nothing comes out of your pocket. So let's just look at a simple, clean example of what it has to look like. In this case, we're going to have a purchase price, and we want to keep that purchase price at $120,000. Next, we have rehab. That's probably the next major item here. And in this case, let's just say our rehab is $20,000. Remember, we have a loan. The 75% of $200,000 was a $150,000 loan. We now have added $120,000 and $20,000. So that only leaves us $10,000 for closing and carry. That could be done, especially if you're refinance, you're working with your mortgage person and they're putting some of their costs into the loan, or on a smaller loan like this, you could probably keep the closing costs at under $10,000. But we also have the carry. So remember, when we're looking at this, it's important before you go out and put in an offer on a property, you're doing all these things. Because in this case, if we were looking at this and we wanted to be all in, we have a maximum $10,000 for carry costs and closing. We can shorten up how much money we put into carry costs by getting it rented quickly, starting once we buy it and we start to rehab it, put it on the market, get it rented, as quickly as possible. Back when we were doing these in 10 or 20 a month, it was mostly 45 days from purchase, getting the rehab done and refinancing it. So it can be done quickly, so the carry cost is not so much. Or let's just say closing and carrying were $15,000. What it means is we're going to have to take money either from our rehab or from our purchase. So to make sure you're getting 100% of BRRRR financing, you got to make sure you're at 75% or whatever you qualify of the ARV. So in this case, 75% of 200,000. We have to keep all of these numbers under that. And more important, we have to work with a good hard money lender who understands how BRRRR works and make sure that they get finance upfront to 75%. This works because you could refinance out with a rate and term. We all understand now that conforming conventional rates, they have now said you have to own the property a year before you can refinance and get cash out. But rate and term, especially for DSCR and conventional, you could do immediately as soon as you could get the appraisal. And that's why it's important to make sure you're working with a great hard money lender on your purchase. So if you have a question, just reach out to us at hardmoneymike.com. There's a contact us form. We could run through any numbers with you, make sure you're in line to get the 100% BRRRR financing. It comes down to what you qualify for on the takeout loan. So we'll have to take one step forward to look back and make sure you could get there. But we can and have helped many people get 100% BRRRR financing.